Math 8, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're looking at our quiz review for lessons 7.1 through 7.3. So we're going to get started. The first one, find the slope of each line. This slope has a slope of 0 because it is a left to right line or horizontal. If you wanted to, you could still find rise over run. Your rise is 0, your run is 1, so that still gives you your 0 answer. This slope is called undefined because it is a vertical line. If you wanted to try your rise over run here, your rise is 1, 2, 3, but your run is 0, which gives you an error message if you try to divide that. We can't divide things by 0, so that has to be undefined. For this one though, our rise is 1 and our run is 1, 2, 3. So we're going to get positive 1/3. And then this is a negative slope, so we're going to rise down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1 for our run. So negative 6 over 1 can just be written as negative 6. Finding the slope of the line for each through pair of points, you can do your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, but we also just talked about the change in y over your change in x. So one thing you could do is just take your y's, which is 17 minus negative 20, over your change in x, negative 13 minus negative 7. 17 minus negative 20 just changes to plus positive, so the 17 plus 20 is 37, and negative 13 plus positive 7 is going to give you a negative 6. That cannot be simplified, so negative 37, 6 is your answer. For here, let's maybe do our second y minus our first one. So change in y over change in x again. Negative 9 minus negative 9 over 0 minus negative 14, still following that same order. Negative 9 minus negative 9 is negative 9 plus 9, which is 0. And then 0 minus negative 14, or 0 plus 14, is 14, and that is equal to 0. For number 7, my change in y over change in x, negative 1 minus 6 over 11 minus 11. This one you're going to get negative 7 over 0, and this one you need to write undefined. Okay? And then finally for number 8, change in y over change in x, I'm going to just do negative 3 minus 0 over 8 minus 15. We get negative 3 over negative 7, and when we have double negatives like that, my answer can just become positive. The next thing we're going to do is make a table. Vertical and horizontal lines don't need tables, so this table is going to consist of negative 1, 0, and 1 values because we don't have any fractions. So if I plug in negative 1 where I see my x, negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Then I plug in 0, minus 1 is negative 1, and I can start to see a little pattern, negative 2, negative 1, so my last one should be 0. Then I plug these into the graph. Negative 1 and negative 2 is down here, 0, negative 1 is here, and 1, comma 0 is here. Those 3 dots are making a straight line for my linear equation. For number 10, my table needs negative 3, 0, and positive 3 because I've got a fraction. So negative 2/3 times negative 3 minus 2. Remember, these negative 3's can just be 1s. So really I'm just doing negative 2 times negative 1, which is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Next up, plug in that 0. Negative 2/3 times 0 minus 2 is just negative 2. So you can start to see the pattern, 0, negative 2, so negative 4 would have to be your last one. So then we plot it, negative 3, 0 is here, 0, negative 2 would be down here, and then 3, negative 4 would be here. So we've got a nice straight line between those 3 points, okay? And then for this one, my xy table, no fractions, so I just use my negative 1, 0, and 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 times 0 is 0, so by now you start to see a pattern. Negative 2, 0, then negative 2. So negative 1, negative 2, 0, 0, and then 1, comma 2 would be here. So straight line again for number 11. These are going to be your x and y intercepts. So x negative 4 is this line here. Oops, right on the negative 4 where your x-axis is. And the next one we have a fraction again. So we're going to use that denominator, negative 5, 0, and 5. I'm going to plug in negative 5 first to my equation, but they cancel out to just give me 1s. So negative 1 times negative 1 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. When I plug in my 0, negative 1/5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So 2, 1, and then my last one would be 0. So negative 5, comma 2, 0, comma 1, 5, comma 0. These are spread out, but still making that straight line. You probably could do a straighter line than I could. And then y is equal to 1. That's on your y-axis, which is here. And that straight line is just a horizontal left to right line. Okay? Finding the x and y intercept. If you want to find the x-intercept, that means y equals 0. So that means when I put y is equal to 0, the y's cancel out, so I'm just keeping my x. So 2x is equal to negative 2. Dividing both sides by 2, x is equal to negative 1. So that x-intercept should look like this, negative 1, comma 0. And then for my y-intercept meaning x is equal to 0. So if I plug in 0 where x is, that's 2 times 0, which just gives me 0. So all that's left is y is equal to negative 2, and that would be your y-intercept, 0, negative 2. Again, same thing here. X-intercept, you're going to keep your x. So 8x equals negative 25. Divide both sides by 8. I'm going to get x is equal to negative 25 eighths. So I'm going to write that in a coordinate as negative 25 eighths, comma 0. And then for my y-intercept, I'm going to keep my y's. So 5y is equal to negative 25, all that's left. Divide both sides by 5. I'm going to get y equals negative 5, so that looks like 0, comma negative 5. Now we're going to actually find the x and y-intercept and plug those in for the last few. So my x-intercept is when I have just my x, so x is equal to 2, so that's 2, comma 0, which would end up here. And then my y-intercept, I have negative y is equal to 2, but I'm going to divide that by negative 1, so y is equal to negative 2, so that's 0, comma negative 2, which would be here. So my straight line is a positive slope. Okay, same thing here for my x-intercept. Keep the x, so 5x is equal to 10. That means x is equal to 2, so 2, comma 0. Plot that point. My y-intercept, keeping the y, so negative 2y is equal to 10. That means y is equal to negative 5, so that point is 0, negative 5, which would be here. And again, I would have that positive slope. Okay, 19, still finding the same things here. So x-intercept, keep the x. So 4x is equal to negative 20. That means x is equal to negative 5. So negative 5, comma 0, which is here on the left x-axis. And then for your y-intercept, keep the y. So 5y is equal to negative 20, or y is equal to negative 4. So that point is 0, comma negative 4, which will be down here. This one creates a negative slope. Our final one, still the same thing with x and y intercepts. X-intercept, keep the x. I'm getting x is negative 2, so negative 2, comma 0. And then for my y-intercept, keep the y, so 2y is equal to negative 2. Y would be equal to negative 1, so that point is 0, negative 1, which ends up here and then creates a negative slope. Okay? That was just a quick review for our 7-1 through 7-3 quiz. Hopefully that gives you some confidence tomorrow going into your quiz. And hopefully you do really well. I know you will after you watch this video. Have a great day, Math 8, and we'll catch you next time.